And that's how I got that sound.
Hey, it's Andrew. Welcome to Beat Therapy. So just the other week, FL Studio came out with its latest version after version 12, which was version 20. They skipped 13 for some reason. I hope it wasn't for superstitious reasons. But anyway, it's 20 years old, and FL Studio is out as a new version. And there's no doubt plenty of videos out there hyping all of the new features and getting everybody really excited about all the stuff that they need to make their music better, because you need new stuff all the time to make good music. And if you don't have new stuff, you can't write music. And that was a thing that I've been buying into for a really long time. So ironically, I actually am going to be talking about FL Studio 20, and I am genuinely excited about it, but for a different reason. I'm excited because an old feature that they took away is back, and that feature is the step sequencer. For me, the step sequencer is the heart of fun for FL Studio, for a whole bunch of reasons. My origins are with tracking programs, so I'm used to seeing music as lines of code, and each little step is where you'd put a command, is where you'd put a note, and that's how you'd make music. So the step sequencer is a logical next step from my origins there. So this is ages ago. I got on board with FL Studio pretty early when it was just a step sequencer, and then it advanced and became a fully equipped studio piece of software. And along the way there, I think ImageLine, the company that makes FL Studio, may have been suffering a little bit from its humble, cute fruit. Its humble, cute origins as Fruity Loops, which was the original name. And it was a beautiful, fun, cute program, but because it was beautiful, fun, and cute, it was never really taken seriously as a fully fledged piece of studio software. That's all changed. It genuinely is an incredible piece of software. A lot of world-famous producers use it, but that's beside the point. I'm really excited that the step sequencer is back because it's rad. It's really, really fun. This is my third attempt. Today, my 27th take, but my third attempt at this video. Last time I tried it was last week, and I wanted to get excited and make a video about the step sequencer, but something about it felt a little bit hollow because I was gonna get in there and give you guys a bunch of production tips, but it felt hollow because I didn't make anything with that video. I was just gonna go and say, hey, here's some great features, you go do the work. That doesn't seem quite right. So I did some work and I made something, and I'm gonna share it with you in a sec, and it's pretty rad. It is. Cool. Thanks. There's a mindset that I've had for a really long time stopping me from making stuff, and that was that I need this next VST. I need this massive download of samples. I need a new MIDI controller. I need a soundproof room. I need new monitors. I need a subwoofer. My sound card isn't good enough. I was making for a long time just excuses, and to some degree, I felt myself doing the same thing with my YouTube channel because I'm currently just shooting on my phone, and I'm using a $20 microphone that I got from Amazon. For a long time there, I was like, I can't get on YouTube until I have this amazing camera, until I can afford all these cool bits and pieces for video, and I don't have those yet, but let's just charge forward and see what we can make. But also, it's a part of a remix competition. Metapop.com put out a bunch of samples from an artist called Odd Kid Out. It's a production competition. So produce this, they give you a bunch of samples, go make a track. This is my track, and I call it Higher. I finished it. I put in a lot more work than I normally would, and I got past the paralysis that sometimes comes in my production cycle, where I might stumble across an idea that I really like, and then I'll put that idea on a pedestal and treat it with some kind of reverence that I feel like if I keep working on it, I'm only gonna ruin it. And that's been the story of so many of my songs that are half finished. I didn't want to ruin them by taking them the wrong way, so I just have these ideas, and that's all they'll ever be until this time. I pushed through and I finished it. I made myself finish it, and I'm glad that I did. Yeah, so for the production of this track, I made a point of not overthinking it. I just cut straight in and did the work. And I did this just pretty much mostly with stock plugins in FL Studio. I didn't use any of the latest and greatest things. I didn't need any external VSTs really. And I surprised myself. I was able to create interesting, amazing sounds with what I already had. There's a message in here somewhere. I used the atmospheric samples of where I am, and I'm right near the freeway, and there's not a day goes by where there isn't a power tool of some kind carving up the gardens out there, and the sound takes a toll and it makes me anxious, but this time I sampled those sounds and I used them in the track. So there is a leaf blower that I transformed into this amazing riser. There is a noise floor that's got the traffic mixed in with it. A whole bunch of sounds just from here that I tweaked and turned into something beautiful. So I'm happy with that. It got the full beat therapy treatment. Okay, let's jump in. This blip lead was in the sample pack, and I didn't really change it much other than running it through a few plugins. Before we go any further, I can feel people saying already, oh, Cuckoo did this thing with the mirror. Yes, cool, thanks Cuckoo. And in honor of Cuckoo and his very helpful production techniques, I made this tribute that I'm going to show over here. Cool. And I want to show you what I did with this leaf blower that's been giving me grief for a couple of years and contributing significantly to my cause for whinginess. The leaf blower here is so anyway, that's my soundtrack for Tuesdays typically, but I wanted to I'll show you what I did with it. I took that sound and I dropped it into right here. The Atmos just continues. All right, here's a really quick way to take sounds that annoy you and turn them into something more useful. I just grabbed a little selection of this annoying leaf blower. Dropped it into the granulizer. Let's get that in the right octave. So you can see straight away we've got the beginnings of something quite different to a leaf blower. Now if I run that through, let's find a spare effect slot. Gotta say, I'm loving the new Fruity Delay 3. I don't know how it works yet completely, but it does some amazing sounds. It seems to work very differently to the other delays in that the stuff that's being delayed gets resampled and you're changing the sample rate of that at the same time. I don't know how to explain it. It's rad. And that's how I got that sound. Ooh. I think I'm breaking something. So, amazing sounds by accident just using the FL Delay 3 plugin. So there's some really great rises that I put in this track, and this is how I made those. My neighbors are going to love me today. Cool, so that's how I made that out of a leaf blower. I took one of the original sounds that came with the pack, the blip sound, and I kept it pretty much as it came in the pack. Popped it through some bit crushing effects and a few reverbs, not much else. So I was initially just playing with scrambled sounds with the leaf blower and just atmospheric garbage for the sake of it, until I hit upon a really nice chord, in a different octave, and I fell in love with that part straight away. And then when I got some bass to blend with that, I had the core of an idea. Other than the bit crusher from Tal, everything that I used in here was stock effects, which surprises me because I'm used to relying or feeling like I need a whole bunch of extra gear, which I don't necessarily need. I gotta confess, this was my first time ever using direct wave, which has been part of FL for maybe 10 years or more. I don't know, it's been in there for ages, and I've never had the inclination to use it. I figured, you know, a sampler, you just throw a sample in and that's all a sampler does, but I've barely scratched the surface with this, but it looks like you can do a lot with it. These random note effects that I was using in the track, I've got that going through a delay, but basically I was just tweaking the end loop time in real time. So I'm dragging that up here. So it looks like you can do amazing stuff with direct wave. I guess I don't know many producers, but I've never seen anybody using this much at all. We never really see behind the scenes, so yeah, good point. Oh, and it also comes with a bunch of samples built in. So there's an amazing stage grand piano. This was just a preset, a direct wave preset that comes with FL, and I punched it through maybe 3 layers of reverb to make this. That almost sounded good. Yay to botch it, all right. Couldn't decide what snare drum I wanted to use, so I used all 4 of them at once for the main mega hit. Those 4 all at once are in my main sample hit. And more sounds. Yeah. So this was just random traffic sound going through the granulizer, then into the delay 3. I may have thrown an Easter egg into this track as well from last week's video. Recognize that. I dropped it into this track at 1 octave lower. Cool. The one thing that it's maybe missing is some vocals, and if anybody wants to throw this track towards Beyonce, I've got an idea for some vocals that I think it would sound really good in the background. But in the meantime, consider it finished until we get to that stage. Should I wrap this up? Should we just go straight to the track? Or should I talk about the highlights and talk about the compression? I don't know. You tell me. My friend Dave gave me some, I think, life-changing production advice of how to use a compressor, which I could maybe attempt to paraphrase here. I don't have the energy to jump in and do a full tutorial because I'm not an expert on compressors. There's still a bit of a mystery to me. I'll summarize what Dave said. And it worked. Basically, crank the settings all the way up, play with the attack until you can start to hear the compressor working. It'll sound awful, but you'll know the timing. You can get the attack right. Just getting the attack right on my compressor has changed everything. So that's the way I'm going to summarize this tip. I might do it in more detail. I don't know if you're interested in that because nobody really comments. So say some stuff. That'd be great. Yeah, I'm really excited about how this track turned out, and I'm glad that I pushed through and did the work to get it done. I got to show it for the first time to a good friend of mine, Tajani, the other night. And if you're in Brisbane and you have some headphones and of a night time you're anywhere near South Bank, go down to this fantastic structure. You'll easily see it. It's got all these LEDs all over it. You can lie in one of these little nets, put some headphones on. This is just one listening suggestion. It's a bit of a trip. So I think this track works really well. The reaction I got from Tajani when she heard this for the first time with the light show above her head and everything, it was priceless. It was really great. So recommend that if you're in Brisbane, check that out and have a listen to my track. Under the Stoner Dome, I don't know what it's actually called. It's part of South Bank. Go and have a look. Cool, I hope you really like the track. Thank you so much for stopping by. I will look at ways of making the track available if you want to support me to make more of these pieces of music and more of these videos. I'm looking at Patreon. I don't know if that's something you guys are interested in. Please leave a comment, share, subscribe, do the things that YouTube does. Have a great week. Thanks for stopping by. See ya.